going on, brother?
I
We're-
need some help on how to do this because it's been a little while, Joey Ryan, since I've or since we've been on here, man, been live.
we've been busy, man. Put my house on the market. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Life happens, man. We understand. I guess people understand. And but those of you guys who are here, hit us up in the chat. Let us know if you can hear us. First off, um, we're doing this a little off the cuff, spur of the moment interview. I went and dragged Joey Ryan out of bed to talk to my boy Oscar Dominguez about all things pool, Mosconi Cup, future plans, just all the stuff that's relevant. Matches coming up, you name it. So again, hit us up. Let us know if the audio is coming in good. Hopefully the video as well. Um, Zach McCraw says we can hear you just fine. So yeah, man, we're excited. I'm gonna try with the help of Joey, if I don't dog it, to do this a little more often. Try for it to be just a little more loose, man. Not as stiff as Joey Ryan can be at times, you know.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So
Oh man. All right. I turned on the chat for you, Mike. So as people kind of comment, we can see what they're saying. I'm really excited to talk to Oscar. It's been a while. We had him on. I guess we did the One Pocket Power rankings a year ago, which we're about to update those soon. But haven't really talked to Oscar in a while. So I'm excited. You want to bring him in? He's back in the green room.
that's here. Let's hear him.
All
Bring him
right.
on in.
Let's bring him in. Hey,
Yo,
what's up,
yo,
Oscar?
what's up, everyone?
Oh, not much, man. Not much. It's good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Likewise, good to see you guys. Just busy, man. It's been wild. So many projects on board, and trying to play pool and raise two children, and it's challenging.
I don't know how you balance that because I got young girls, Joey's got young kids, right? And the struggles of being a parent, let alone a small business owner in California, all those things are challenging by themselves in a nutshell. And then you throw in, still got a little gas left in the tank, man. You
I
know,
do. I I try to stay away. I try not to get involved, and here I am. I'm a DJ, and I just can't turn it off. And it's a good thing, though. It balances me out. I play pool therapeutically like almost every day now. I'm playing every day, and it just kind of, I zone out for 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, look, I got to do my thing. I got to do me, and makes me a better father, makes me a better husband, better person all the way around.
Let me, Oscar, I want to, since you mentioned that, there's been a number of times in my life where I've struggled with things or, gone through stuff. And it just, there's something that is therapeutic about hitting a couple hundred balls, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I'm, I mean, there's something to be said about doing something you truly enjoy, and when you do that, I think it just releases some serotonin or something in you to where it kind of just, you know, some me time.
Lord knows I've had many of those where I'm just like, I'm getting the hell out the house and I just want to go hit some balls. And it doesn't matter what I'm going through in life, it's just you and the table.
Right.
And you can either have all those joys there or all those frustrations there if you're dogging it or if you're off a little bit. So I'm completely on board with you. But you're on a whole other level than, especially than me. I know Joey hits them pretty good.
I was just going to
Um,
say, we actually pocket the balls though, Mike, and we hear the sound of the balls going in.
yeah, that's why I enjoy one pocket, man. I like hitting the rails a little better. I'm good at it.
Oh,
Um,
man.
Walk us through what the last week's been like for you, man. I know you've gone through a lot of highs and lows.
Right, right. I was over at the international, and obviously I knew I drew Phil our first round, and I knew. I'm like, this is it. If I win, I make the Mosconi Cup, or I get myself. I almost forced them to throw me into consideration, and I just hyper focus, and I'm playing good. I'm playing good, and 9-6. I'm up. Long story short, I missed the 9 ball to put him away. I mean, it was so easy. I just kind of one stroked. I got kind of ahead of myself. The adrenaline kicked in, and I realized the mistake. Like, I'm like, holy crap, did I really just do that? And then that was a goal 7-3 or 7-2, I think, at that point. And the guy had
Yes.
gotten, Josh had gotten. I'll be honest, it's full disclosure. He got kind of lucky to win like 2 games.
He
He got
did.
some sick rolls, and but anyways,
You got a little funny on an 8 ball.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I lost, and Joshua actually told me something, probably a very flattering comment. I have a great respect for Josh's game, and he told me, he says, if they don't pick you, they're making a mistake. That's what he told me. And because I said, well, there goes a $20,000 9 ball set, or $15,000 9 ball set. I knew it. I just knew it. I was kind of sick. And then, of course, I win
We
my
were all
next
sick, buddy.
match, and then I played Victor. I played Victor on the loser side, and he played dead perfect. I mean, dead perfect. It was gross how good he played. Like, he would have beat anybody that day. And then I'm like, well, there goes my tournament. I'm out. And then my name starts getting thrown around, and the carrot starts dangling right in front of you. And Mosconi Cup, Oscar should be on the Mosconi Cup, and I'm like, oh god, here I go again. But and then obviously it didn't happen, so it was disappointing, but it wasn't surprising. Does that make sense? I know I deserve it in so many ways, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I have to force them to pick me. That's the only way I'm going to get on. I have to give them no choice and say we have to put Oscar because, he just beat so and so and won this tournament. It's the only way. I can be the most consistent player in the country, other than Shane and Bergman. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I know that. I've been in the top 6 for the past 12, 14 years of Americans, and I've only been on the team twice. It's a hard pill to swallow. In 2009, I was a number 1 ranked player. They had no choice because we went by BCA rankings. The top 2 got automatics. They had no choice. So that one I don't even count. In reality, out of, say, 12 to 13 years, I've only been selected once. And, it stings, because your ego starts, it hurts because you know that you deserve it and you're not getting it. So
I remember going into the international, and me and you were talking, and you were like, I usually draw the worst every time I play a tournament. Like I usually have. And I remember that verbatim, or more or less. He's like, I usually have the worst draws. Just wait.
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, I think you had sent a picture, and it was filler. And I
Yeah.
was like, what are the odds of all the guys? And I was talking with a couple of people privately, and I was saying it's a $15,000 match. If he makes it, they cannot not put him on the team, because if he beats filler, and it wasn't just the international, because yeah, you were up big and then you should have closed them out, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Victor should have never been there because it should have been Tommy Kennedy.
God.
Surprisingly, Tommy Kennedy beats Victor on the winner's side. I was like, what the? Yeah. Anyway, um, but yeah, but you've had a great year though, Oscar.
Thank you.
You beat Omar Al Shaheen, uh, taking him 98 to 100, something like that.
Yeah,
Right,
98
10
ton.
ball.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off of a runner-up finish in the World Championships. But it's kind of been, you kind of had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Is that fair?
Right.
Because of what, life, right? The business, being a father. I remember talking with you in Vegas, and you were like, no, there's no chance,
Yeah.
But it was your play, man. And I told you this the other day, when it comes to being down about it. I know you weren't down about it, but just trying to, that pat on the back kind of speech. And you should be proud because it was your play that got you in the conversation, even with at best a half a schedule for a year.
All right. And it's like I feel like my game's coming around. I feel like my life's going really well in terms of like I guess my personal situation, financially, family wise, everything's just falling into place. I have direction. I'm playing less, but I'm playing better. It's things are going my way. I'm very blessed, but I don't know, man. It's not easy to sit and watch when you feel like you should be there. It's a tough pill to swallow. Um, it's you start. I can't tell you how many times after Mosconi Cup every December. I can't tell you how many times I feel like quitting pool, just throwing my Q6 across the freeway, and just sick and tired of, I guess, the personal biases involved in sports. It's just the way it is.
Right.
And I just feel like no matter what I did, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. And I just, it does wear you out. It ages you. And honestly, last year when they picked those 7 or 8 players, and I wasn't even in the mix, that was the most comfortable December I've ever had in the past dozen years. I just knew I had no chance. And you know what? I didn't lose a wink of sleep. I felt great. And like, part of me just wants to say, you know what, don't even call me, guys. Don't even message me. Don't even tell me, hey, I saw you're playing real good. You look confident. But don't even message me, because then I get these ideas in my head and I start thinking Mosconi Cup, Mosconi Cup, Mosconi Cup, and it just starts swirling around. It's like
it's that ex who just comes in every now and then, right?
Right. Oh,
every
God.
6 months. It's your bad.
We all have one of those.
Yeah. And it just tilts you, and it's not healthy, because I know, like, even after this whole selection stuff, I know I snapped at, God bless Desiree for marrying me, but I snapped at my wife because I was edgy, and I'm like, this is not, she doesn't deserve this, like, that's my bad there, I realize that, like, I'm sorry for
But you're human.
snapping at you, because it's my bad. But it's not healthy. It's not. It's kind of gross.
So, Oscar, despite the efforts of an incredible campaign manager,
I know, right?
you didn't get there, but tell us what it felt like, as Molina's putting out those posts. I know you follow him online, and he was pushing real hard for you. We were all kind of hoping that you'd get the nod there, and just seeing the support that kind of poured in on his post. What was that like?
Honestly, it was really overwhelming. Obviously, Molina and I are buddies and stuff, but he didn't have to do that. And I know he truly believed in what he was writing, and I saw the response. And, it just kind of it validated my efforts, if that makes sense. It kind of said, you know what? You've gotten the shaft for so many years, and it's just like, you know what? There's people who are seeing it now. I remember like it was yesterday. We won it in 2009, and I would see people's response, and I remember them saying, a lot of people say, "Oh, the team was great. America's awesome, but next time let's bring Rodney Morris into the team and get rid of Oscar." We just won. We literally just won. Like, let me at least enjoy a couple of weeks of, And of course, the next year they brought the team they wanted, the dream team, the American dream team. They got drilled, and there's more to the Mosconi Cup than talent or skills. There's so many more.
Elaborate on that.
Well, I mean, I can elaborate pretty well. I mean, like with the current team, or just in general.
In general, well, I mean, like team sports in general, like when it comes to playing pool, Q sports.
Yeah,
you don't because we don't see it. It's such an individual game.
Right, pool's such an individual sport. Like, I played basketball my whole life, and clear example is we would go and play against some really, really tough competition. But we're like the Catholic schools, and we're going into the hood in LA and playing with guys who are much better athletes than us and far superior players than us. But we run like offense, and we're doing screens, we're doing pick and rolls, we're doing all the fundamentals right. We beat these guys because they're not disciplined. Some of them. Other times we got dunked on. But it's a very similar thing in pool. You don't have to have the most talented players out there if you get the best of everybody in a certain aspect, if that makes sense. Because when you have too many superstars or too many personalities, and you saw that in 2009 with Team Europe. Team Europe, they called it the Dream Team. It was Ralph Souquet, Thorsten Homan, Darren Appleton, who at the time
Legends.
was winning everything, Mika, and
Player of the decade.
yeah, and I don't know, it'll come to me sometime. But anyways,
Was it Niels?
they
I was going to say Niels, yeah.
Niels. It was Niels. So like you see these monster players, like literally just so much ego with each athlete, with each player, I guess you can put them. And when things didn't go their way, you saw tension build, and they kind of dogged it, for lack of better words. And that's why, like, the Mosconi Cups, it's a different dynamic. You have a cancer in there and it just spreads, and it spreads quick. And that's why, I wasn't a fan of, the current situation. And, but, I understand they want, it's a business.
Let's talk about Earl.
Let's talk about Earl. Yeah,
let's talk about it. So I didn't hear much of anything all year long when it came to Earl being even in the conversation, like at all. And then maybe a couple of days before it was announced, I forgot who had told me, but they were like, the next pick's gonna shock the world. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, who, none of these mayonnaise on their sandwich kind of guys are going to be shocking the world. Like, what are we talking about here? And then Earl's name gets brought up out of left field. I don't know about you, but I was completely taken back. I don't know what all he's been playing in when it comes to playing like great per se. Well, first of all, I don't know what he's been playing in general, let alone playing great in. Whereas when I looked at how you've been playing, right, I can give you names that you've beaten over the last 6 months that have been top tier. So what was your reaction to it, Oscar? How do you think his personality is going to go and fit in that team back on the Moscone stage again? Let me know.
First impressions, disappointment. I was, how can I say this lightly without ruffling too many feathers? I was embarrassed as an American pool player. I really was. Not necessarily because he took my spot. It has nothing to do with that. I just felt like it was disheartening for all these young kids like Justin Martin, Shane Wolford, even Chris Robinson, all these up and coming talents. I understand it's a business.
Tyler
I
Steyer.
understand. Yeah, Tyler Steyer. All these kids were, 25 and under, 27 and under, whatever age they are. Like, what does it say for them?
Right.
That it's okay to not be a sportsman all the time if you get good ratings. It's to me, it was disheartening to see that pick. And granted, Earl was, I've seen so many AccuStats videos of Earl. I grew up watching him. He's an idol of mine. I learned so much of it. But as a fan, for example, let's say, he brings a lot of attention to the fans and stuff. It's great. He's great for viewership. But when you play against him all the time and you see him do all these antics and sharking you and manipulations, it's not fun for the players. It's not fun to play against that. Like, I resent every time I have to draw him in a tournament. I just can't stand it because I know what's going to happen. He's going to try and beat me other than playing well on the table. And I always told myself, like, I'm one of these days I'm going to grab my break and just, split his head open. And I'm not a violent person. I'm a peaceful guy. And, it was so disappointing. And I knew right then and there, my hopes were done. And I just, like, what, it sucks. It was really disappointing. Like I said, it's just disheartening. And I hope he has a great Mosconi Cup, and I hope I'm wrong. Unfortunately, the results speak for themselves. And when you get Earl in a hostile environment, he might play great for one day and terrible for the next. But at the end of the day, I think you need consistency to win. For 4 days, you need the 1992 Earl for 4 days. And when was the last time we saw the 1992 Earl?
Right. Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
probably.
it's a tough balance, man, because Earl can be a home run. Earl can also be a train wreck at times too.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you're gonna go and get. Um, I've said this before in the last few months is that I didn't think there was a chance to go and bring back that same team, that got smoked last year. That was one thing that I had been saying because it just didn't make any sense. But I guess it's a no brainer. People are going to tune in to go and watch Earl Strickland go and play, whether it's to go and laugh or maybe see his genius again, maybe see him go off on the crowd or on the ref or on the player, you name it. Um, he's made for TV. And personally, I think this may sound a little crazy. I I think like to an extent the game's good when he's around at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like contained at least. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'll be watching. Joey, what was your impression of it?
Well, it's always tough because I carry myself completely different than Earl. I never would kind of do some of those antics that Oscar talked about, and of probably my best friend in the pool world, Mike Davis. He's had similar thoughts, Oscar, and he's not very homicidal either. But he's wanted to
Yeah.
hit Earl in the head with his pool cue before, and but then you talk to other people who know Earl and say, he's that way when he's out there and he's competing, but he's got a heart of gold and he's really
Yeah.
not a terrible person, and so for that reason, I want to try to pull for him. Obviously, I'm going to root for the United States, and who knows, maybe he could kind of channel some of yesteryear and come out and play great. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But to kind of piggyback off of some of your sentiment from earlier, Mike, and what you were posting online, congratulations on a great year, Oscar.
Thank you.
I got to see you out in Vegas, and just following you this year, it was fun to watch. And I wish you'd be on the team, but you're not. So tell us a little bit about some of the other guys and
Mm-hmm.
what you're expecting from Team USA this year.
I mean, obviously Shane. I think Shane's lost a little bit of hunger in terms of like his desire to be the best because he's accomplished so much and it's hard to stay that hungry. But I mean, Shane's Shane. I mean, he's the GOAT. I mean, Shane's accomplished so much. He's, in my opinion, probably the best overall player in the world currently. Besides him and Dennis are arguably the best overall players in the world. And then you got Skyler, who, if he's playing, he's as deadly as it gets. And I think I saw Skyler play some of the most unbelievable pool when we were with the Johan. Johan had him doing drills, had him disciplined, boom, 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 boom. And a disciplined Sky is a dangerous guy. There's not many people out there who can beat him because he's got so much raw talent. He's got a family now, so he knows how it is changing diapers. It's a little different, diaper stroke. And some people it affects differently. I felt like my pool game got better. I've seen other people's game get worse. Things can change. So I haven't really seen Sky much other than the bar table stuff, but that really doesn't count because it's the bar table, in my opinion. Or when he played Carlo, I mean, that didn't go very well for him, but
No.
I wasn't surprised just because Carlo's so gross. And then we got Tyler, who probably the hardest working American currently, Shane included. He's out there.
I think
putting in
Shane
the
would say the
time.
same thing.
Yeah, I mean he's I'm really really happy for him. I think he's come a long way as a person. You know, him and I have always had really good talks, and I've tried giving him the best advice I can, just because he's got a heart of gold. Great kid. Same with Chris phenomenal person, phenomenal family. And it's funny. Like a lot of people think I was disappointed when Chris and Tyler got picked over me. I wasn't. I really wasn't. I really didn't care about that. I was more upset at myself for falling into the Moscone trap again. Of getting my hopes up and because I swore to myself to never do it again, and I did it again. But I mean, I'm so happy for Tyler and Chris, and I know they've had their differences over the past couple of years, personally with those two. And I told them, I said, look, you guys are young. You guys, whatever BS you had before, you guys got to squash, because you guys are going to be playing with each other for a hell of a lot, for a very long time, if you plan on playing pool for a living.
Right.
And, I did
Here
talk to Tyler. Yeah, and I think they're on really good terms now. I think they're pretty good. I think they just needed to mature. When you're 21, 22, you don't know shit. I mean, come on.
How do you think they'll handle that big personality sitting there, in Earl Strickland?
Tyler, I'm not too worried about. Tyler's going to tell Earl that he doesn't know how to draw the ball. I mean, Tyler's ruthless. I mean, I love T, but he'll tell you straight to your face, you don't know how to draw the ball. And it rubs people the wrong way. And I think that's what happened that one year. When he tries to help people, he's blunt. He can't sugarcoat things. He just says, oh, no, you're wrong. He makes people feel bad, but he's got good intentions. I think he'll be okay with Earl. Chris, I'm a little worried about with Earl, because Chris is a little bit younger, a little bit greener when it comes to that. Sky's probably going to be like, whatever. He don't care. And Shane's just going to turn off his hearing aid and won't listen to anything what Earl says.
Shane will just look over and smile.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he can't beat me.
All right,
One thing about
go ahead.
Real quick, Mike, I was just going to say, one thing about Chris, though, is it seems like not a whole lot bothers him. He goes with the flow and doesn't seem to get too upset about anything. So I guess that's some little bit of hope there that Earl won't get under his skin.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I hope so. I hope it doesn't bother him, because Chris is such a good kid. Like I used to gamble with Chris over at, with Brendan, and we used to play Scotch doubles. We were always in action with each other. And Tuesday nights, we'd be gambling, race to 7 for 2,000, Scotch doubles. I remember these days, they'd come home at 7 in the morning. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I grew up with Chris. I mean, we go to all the Hard Times tournaments together, and he's kind of been like the kid behind some of the top California players, like my father and myself, Amar King. He was growing up, and it's kind of cool to see him kind of just come into his own. And I told him I'm not ready to pass the baton yet. It's like, I'm not ready to pass the baton quite yet. I still feel like I can kick still. So,
well, let's talk about your ability to go and kick a little bit and chasing that carrot, so to speak. All right. Now, I know you kind of got your hopes up a little bit, but this is Shane said, and I know you've heard it before, but I want to get your opinion on it. If they do have a qualifier, first of all, how much credit do you like? How much belief do you have in that statement? And the next part of the question is, if there is a qualifying system for American players, will you be attending it?
It's going to depend on a couple of variables. First of all, I don't think it's going to be an accurate representation. I feel like they're only going to probably pick 2 players to be completely honest, just because they want to protect their picks, and they want to make sure it's good for TV. So they know Shane's going to be the number 1 player anyways, and he's going to be a wild card anyways, and they're going to say, oh, he went through picks, so now we get to pick the other players. Now we have 4 picks. You know what I mean? Makes sense. I just feel like Skyler and Shane are going to be on points anyways, because they invite them to all the events. So I kind of feel it's going to go back to the same cycle. it really doesn't matter. Now, if they say, hey, we're going to say have a ranking system, guaranteed top two, and the other three, have very high chances or whatever, I probably won't do it, to be honest with you. If they do like all five or three, or if three of them make it, I'm in 100%. But I have to look at the schedule. It can't be the World Pool Masters where it's invitation only.
Right.
And I got no chance to get in. And it can't be the Championship League, the CPL. Then they're going to invite who they want anyways. And then they're going to add extra points to this event because it's a CPL and it's a matchroom event. So now I'm like, I have to hope they go 2 and out so that I have a chance to win 2 events and make up what they already got.
Because you're already behind the 8 ball, so to speak, too.
Right. It's just, I don't want to go down that cycle.
Is that a little white wine there, Oscar? Little white wine?
It's a little white wine. It's a little.
You're not too far from wine country there.
Yeah,
Riesling or Chardonnay?
No, it's girly wine.
It's girly wine. Does report me. A little price. But it's just I love pool so much, guys. I mean, I really love it. I mean, I would not be opening up a pool room and buying a pool room, I should say, if I didn't absolutely love it. At the end of the day, if my schedule works out, I'll be hitting some events. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I hope so. I think Team USA is gonna be. I think Team USA is better when you're playing good pool. And if you can go and be, and we all know pool comes in waves, right? As far as how good you're hitting them, unless you're just an alien. But like if you can go and have the same type of gear like you've had this year, but get a fair shake at it, I don't see any reason why you don't get in. And that's just me saying it from someone who watches a lot of pool. And
right.
And that's what I told. And it's funny because I remember whenever Oscar was playing filler, and I mean I was like yelling at the screen, man. Like I'm here on my phone, and when he gets funny on the 8, I'm like, Jesus Christ, Oscar. And early on in the match, Desiree's texting me, and she's like, "How's he doing?" And I'm like, "He's up. He's playing good." And then I gave her the website information for AccuStats, but I was sweating every ball. I knew it was big, but I know, and this is the crazy part, is that even you knew in the back of your mind it was big, and you still played that solid. And that to me shows someone who can handle pressure and someone who can go and process that and still perform like that deserves to be on that stage, especially with the way things are going for Team USA. What chances do you honestly give them? Like, you give them a puncher's chance? Do you think that they're getting set in to be slaughtered? I mean, be real with me here,
Only for you, Mike. Only for you.
Yeah.
They have a very slim chance.
Depends on Earl.
I think Earl's going to be. He's going to be the XYZ factor, not just the X factor. He's going to be the whole alphabet. The thing is, I've seen, and the thing is, people, have this thing about Earl. They're go Earl, go Earl, go Earl. I get it. I grew up watching him play too. I know how amazing he was. What an amazing career he's had. He's a Hall of Famer. God bless him. But you're not playing with him, guys. You haven't been in the same building with him. You haven't been in the green room and have him. I've heard stories that will make you puke from Mosconi Cup with Earl on it. And I'm going to say one of them just because it's important that you guys understand the background behind it. He told another Mosconi Cup player saying that you don't know how to play and you're an embarrassment. How is that going to create team morale?
Yeah, that's not good for chemistry.
How is that good for chemistry? Now, regardless of how successful of an individual player is and how blessed he is, he's got probably the most incredible stroke and can do some amazing things with the ball. What he can also do to himself and teammates with chemistry, it's holds a psychological game. And when that's the most suspect part of your your arsenal. I don't know. I think it's going to bleed over, but I hope I'm wrong, and I hope Team USA wins. And it's
Hey, listen,
I'll jump on the table.
you know how it can be on paper. I mean, on paper, you were probably like a 3 game dog to Filler going to 11.
Oh, easily.
You know, and when you got someone who's motivated and who's strong mentally, you know, and a couple of good rolls and an ability to go and break the balls like you did. I mean, it's a 9 ball, man.
It's nine ball. You can never underestimate the person who's not afraid to lose.
Yeah.
The person who's not afraid to lose, that's a dangerous person. You always have to respect them. That's why whenever I gamble with people and I I try to crush them. They beat me. You know what? They beat me. I gave them my best shot, and they were the better man that day. But never because I took them lightly. We're this game is just so sensitive. One roll here, one roll there can change everything.
Oscar, Mosconi Cup aside, you know, I know it's been tough in California going through the pandemic, having the pool room, everything that you dealt with. I know you weren't playing a lot coming into this year, and you still managed to play great throughout the year. Does that, like, thinking long term about, where you are in your pool journey, tell me how this year was in terms of like your thoughts for the future and where you could go?
That's a good question. I realized one thing is that I've learned on how to maximize my practice time. So my practice time has been significantly less than, say, pre-business and pre-21 employees. But two kids, yeah. But when I go in and practice, I'm zoned. I I hit the zone faster than I ever have in my career because I don't have as much time to play. So usually, I would throw balls and I hit balls for 12 hours, 8 hours, 14 hours. I'd gamble for 30 hours. I mean, just, you know, long, what was it, endurance type of guy. Because I'm doing short spurts, short practice sessions, I've become almost a tournament style player now. I'm not an endurance player. Molina, like perfect example, I just got through playing Fortunsky, a big set for like 12,000. He just wins the European Championships in 10 ball. I got him race to 17. I got him like 14-5. And then 3 a.m. hits, and I just can't see the ball anymore. I pop 2 Red Bulls in, and he ends up beating me like 17-15. Play a set for 12,000. I had this guy dead in the water, and I just fell asleep. I just couldn't. I had no energy left. But it validates what I've been thinking, that I'm a good player. I'm not washed up. I'm learning more now that I'm playing less because I'm watching a lot of pool. Like especially like when I'm doing counts, I'm counting money or making deposits. I'm like watching pool all the time. It's kind of like you start over. You refresh your fundamentals. You refresh your techniques. Now, whenever I practice, I'm doing my EX, I'm doing my drills. It's just different, and I don't have to win. When you don't have to win, you don't have that pressure like, hey, if I don't make this ball, I'm not going to pay my rent. I mean, that's a brutal thing. I mean, it will wear you out. Now I'm like flying business class, and it's not that I'm rich or anything, but my bills are covered, and I don't have to win. It's a different mentality. It's a different approach.
Yeah, and also brutal, man. Your practice time is kind of a premium for you now. So I'm sure you're not wasting any of it. It's kind of interesting to hear that perspective. Like there's people who hang out for 6-7 hours a day in a pool hall hitting balls, and they're like, I'm not getting any better. And it's kind of like the guy that goes to the gym, bench presses, and then talks for 20 minutes, then goes over, does a couple curls, talks for 20 minutes, and then you see those people that come in and it's one set to the next, and it's almost like you're that guy now.
Exactly. And it's different. I've got a table at home and I'm hitting balls. I don't have to go to drive 20 minutes, 30 minutes to the business and then work and get asked a million questions and then hit balls for 10 minutes and then get asked more questions and then Say, oh, geez, it's 1 in the morning. I got to go to sleep because my kids are waking up at 5:30 in the morning. So now I just go to the garage and I hit some balls. And I can't break the balls, though. That's the only bad thing, because the kids are sleeping. But I do hit balls every day.
It's funny, man, because I don't know how many times Oscar hit me up in Messenger and he's like, "What do you think about this game?" And I'm like, "Man, it's a bad game. Don't do it, man. Don't mess with that guy. Just stay away from him." And he's like, "Nah, F it. I'm gonna go. I'm jumping in." And then he ends up like 14-5. I'm like a donkey. Or he
Yeah.
ends up going 198 with Omar, and I'm like, "What the hell was I thinking?" You're just a tough guy to go and peg because, hey, man, you're not counting on it to go and eat, and you
Yeah,
got
exactly.
and you still got an ability, and that's the best thing, man. So I know, listen, I know it didn't end up the way you wanted to, but you got a lot of things to be proud of, and I told you that day and the whole time whenever I was making posts, it was all coming from a place of love and a place from heart, man. And you're inspiring to a lot of us, man. So
Thank you.
make sure and keep it going. So yeah, I know you got some new things coming up.
Hmm.
Um, talk to us about how Hard Times is, the new business venture, and what the future looks like for you.
So, I mean, obviously we're still pretty busy over at Hard Times in Sacramento. Um, 30, 33 tables. And I still plan on having lots of events. I'm going to release 5,000 added tournament. Next year, I'm having another 10,000 added junior tournament, doing that again. I'm going to do a jamboree. I still plan on adding probably roughly $30,000 in big added events, maybe even a little bit more. Um, so obviously, I haven't forgotten where I come from. I'm still a pool player. I still want to have these events. I still want to have, the champions come in. And so next door to Hard Times, I have a billiard supply, which is this close to finishing up. Golden State Billiard Supply. I got my dad, who's going to be, working and helping me install the tables. And, I'm going to have him kind of work for me just because I don't want him killing himself working for other people. I have him like do single jobs. And I said, look, Dad, I'll pay you the same thing that you make doing 60 tables, just doing 15 tables. Just see your grandkids, relax
Important.
and, be a grandpa. Um, so I'm really excited about that to help him out and, and start working with that. Obviously, Molina's, they're a big part of the business, and he'll be our pretty much our right hand man. And we're gonna join forces together and work together and try to, I guess, grow the sport. One Q sale at a time.
That's right, man. So if you guys need anything Q wise or any billiard supplies for that matter, cloth,
Predator, Q Tech, Mez. I mean, cases, 3 seconds that we have. I mean, I'm investing so many resources here, and I'm going, like, if anyone's been watching my Facebook post recently with all these Q6, I'm buying tons of Qs, not for my health, but just because I want people to understand that, hey, I'm your guy if you want to get high-end rare Predator Qs. I'm your guy if you're looking for that desirable radial pin P3 or the beloved blue P3, which hopefully I can get my hands on a couple soon. And I know, Melina, I see you smile from here.
I keep hearing Desiree in the background. It's pretty obvious who the brains of the operation is over there, Oscar.
Desiree's amazing. I mean, she's really, really gone above and beyond. I mean, there's no way I can keep this going without her. And it's funny because I've I've always said that, people say, oh, like whenever anyone asks me like, hey, Oscar, what do you think about this? Should I clock in this? I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Ask the boss. Like, just ask
That's
Desi.
awesome.
Just ask the real boss. You
Hey,
know?
Oscar, a few people in the comments are asking if there's a website up for it yet or a link. Do you have that yet?
Yes, it's gsbilliards.com, right?
It's not live yet.
It's not live
I
yet.
gotta double check the inventory.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
to double check the inventory and start matching it up. It's going to be close. When you guys, I'll be blessed a couple days at Max, and you guys will see it with my Facebook and Amelina's page for sure.
Awesome. I don't know if Mike's talking or not. He looks like he's talking over there.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Can't hear him. No, can't hear you, brother.
Can't hear you, man.
I just muted him. I'm getting tired of hearing
Okay.
him. No, I'm kidding. Hey, Mike, maybe jump out and jump back in. I know we're going to wrap up soon, but it's a shame we can't hear you. Let's see.
Can
Maybe
you
I
hear
can.
me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, what I was saying is keep your eye on all the social medias. It'll be all over my page, Oscar's page, windows open. As soon as the website is live, we'll make sure and post it all over the place. So I'm super excited to be working with them. It's good working with like-minded people in the industry, whether it's in Q sales and it's Oscar, or it's on the media side of it, like me working with Joey whenever he responds to my messages. On the yeah, on the one PKT side of it with them also, with our other business partners. Yeah, the sport's going in a good direction, and I really mean that, and I really have faith in that. And I know Oscar's been through the runaround a few times, but you know what? It takes people actually doing things in order for things to go and change. That's what we're doing. We're trying.
And one of the things that I haven't really made public at all to anybody. So obviously, you guys remember the Mez tour, how successful it was, and how we had 325 members up and down the West Coast. Yeah, I am bringing it back in some variation, but I am going to rebrand it and start over. We have someone who's going to be helping us run the events and doing all that, but it's going to be obviously branded through Golden State Billiard Supply. So it's going to be the Golden State Tour. That way I can promote the tour and promote, pool, and promote my own business and my own pool rooms and other pool rooms nearby. That way I can become, I guess, just, throw a lot of
And
support.
get support from everyone.
Get support from everybody and the players, and just really, really just bring both aspects of it, bring, the products and the vendors and everything, just to, I guess, to have great events, and it's, I think I've had so much support from Predator because they see what I'm trying to do. They know that I want them to do well. And, I don't want to just, it's funny because Jessica says, "Oh, just message me and, I'll send you a new shaft or for whatever." I'm like, "No, I feel bad, I'll pay for it." You guys are a business, you guys, I hate asking for things, but I'm hoping to build these relationships with these companies that I believe in and who believe in trying to improve our sport. And, when I can do my part, at least on the Western United States, and eventually start branching across the nation. That's my vision.
So Oscar, before I moved to Arizona, you would have some events in Arizona. So that's my request, is that you have some of these new tour in Arizona. I at least want to get a chance to play in one or two.
I will 100% have one, especially with Mike over at Bullshooters.
Yeah.
What an incredible guy, great family. He was one of the few people that I just told him, "Hey, this is what we need from you." He says, "Okay." I mean, just like no questions asked, no, "Oh, I don't know if I can do this." No, just boom, all done. And it was just such a pleasure working with him. And then obviously, I don't know how big Freezers or Mills is these days, so I don't know if that's
it's changed a little bit. It's more into the college scene. There's another good room in town called Main Street Billiards. Thor.
Thor.
Thor. Yeah, they do a good job there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a number of places here that I'm sure would be willing to entertain a conversation about hosting.
Yeah, I mean, because as a business owner myself, I know what the numbers makes sense. You know, it's got to make sense for them. And if it doesn't make sense for them, then they're not going to do it. And that's what pool players don't understand. They just want free time. They want free drinks. And it's like, guys, it's so hard running a business these days. You guys don't get it, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's not out of greed. It's out of necessity. You have to make money. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, Oscar, you've been very generous with your time tonight. Melina, do you have anything else for Oscar Dominguez?
No, man. Listen, I appreciate it. I'm glad to be working with you. I'm looking forward to the future. And yeah, I don't know, man. Sleep's overrated. So let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Oscar. Appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. My pleasure, guys. Anytime.
Okay. Best of
All right,
luck. We'll
buddy.
talk soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. See ya.